because we exercise power. Our power is limited, but even though I have never experienced unlimited power, I can at least imagine what unlimited power might be like, because I see gradations of power in this world where I live. And so when God reveals to us that he is powerful, I have some concept of powerfulness, so that when he speaks to me and says that he's powerful, I have a point of contact with power. But that's only if there is some sense in which he is like me and I am like him. Now, let me back up a little bit, do a little history lesson. This issue of the meaningfulness and adequacy of human language to talk about a transcendent, holy God was not invented in the 20th century. This issue went way back in the history of theoretical thought, and it was a question that St. Thomas Aquinas had to deal with, as he was an apologist in his era. And Aquinas distinguished among three kinds of language, three kinds of descriptive language, which I've gone over in other courses at Legonier, but we'll look at it again here. He distinguished among, first of all, univocal or univocal language. Second of all, he talked about equivocable language, or equivocal. And third, analogical. Now, what is the difference among these three? Univocal language is language that describes things between two parties and an exact one-to-one identification. That if, for example, my understanding of chair were exactly your understanding of chair, we would have univocal communication. One sound, right? It's exactly the same, identical. Equivocal language is language where the meaning of the term changes dramatically in the course of the conversation. I illustrate this when I teach logic to my seminary students and teach them the fallacy of equivocation. And I show them the fallacy of equivocation by proving that that cats have 9 tails. Do you remember the time I proved to you, Roger, that cats have 9 tails? We're going to do it again. My first premise in my syllogism is this: no cat has 8 tails. Do you agree with that, Roger? You've never seen a cat with 8 tails, have you? Okay, well, I'm going to prove to you that cats have 9 tails. No cat has 8 tails, right? Now, here's my question. If I have 2 boxes up here, and one box has a cat in it, and the other box is empty. Got an empty box here and a box with a cat in it here. Now, I'm going to test your knowledge of arithmetic and mathematics. How many more cats are in this box, Roger, than are in this box? 1. Thank you very much. How many more cats' tails are in this box than in this box? 1. And how many cats are in this box? 0. I got no cat in this box and 1 cat in this box, right? So I have 1 more tail in this box than I have in this box. So I say here, 1 cat has 1 more tail than what? No cat. Well, this is just a simple matter of deduction. If no cat has 8 tails and 1 cat has 1 more tail than no cat, then how many tails does 1 cat have? QED, right? 8 and 1 makes what? 9. So 1 cat, then the conclusion by resistless logic is that 1 cat has 9 tails. Now, I tricked you. And what was the trick? What happened in this line of reasoning? The meaning of this term, no cat, changes in the middle of the discussion. It means something completely different here than it means here. And that's called the fallacy of equivocation. I illustrate it this way. A man goes to a theater to hear a dramatic reading. And he comes back from the theater, and I say, how was the dramatic reading? And he says to me, it was a bald narrative. A bald narrative? You mean the speaker didn't have any hair in his head? No. That's not what you would understand him to mean. You would understand him to mean that there was something lacking, perhaps some expressiveness or some punch or elan in the reading. It didn't have any pizzazz. And so we say it was bald. That's called an equivocal use of the term bald, where normally when we use the term bald, we mean the absence of hair from the head. But then we stretch it out way away from its original meaning to apply it to a narrative, and here the meaning of the term changes dramatically. So, the difference between equivocal and equivocal is that univocal language has a very tight, close similarity of meaning, an exactitude. And equivocal language is where the meanings change radically from person to person. But Aquinas said there is a middle ground of language, which is analogical. And the definition of analogical is that the meaning of a term changes proportionately to the difference in the beings that are being described. Let me say it again, that the meaning of a term changes proportionately to the difference in the beings that are being described. Let me illustrate that. Do you have a dog? Do you have a dog? Who has a dog? Is your dog a good dog? I have a good dog. Now, when he tells me that his dog is a good dog, does that mean that your dog has a highly developed sense of a categorical imperative, acutely sensitive conscience about right and wrong? Is that what you mean? No, you don't think that your dog sits around and worries about ethical propositions. When you said your dog is good, you mean that he comes when you call him, he's housebroken, right? And he doesn't bite the mailman in the leg. Good. Now, if I say that Fred here is a good guy, do I mean by that he comes when I call him, he's housebroken, and he doesn't bite the mailman on the leg? Now, obviously, I mean something different when I say that Fred is good from what I mean when I say my dog or your dog is good. Because goodness changes with respect to the difference of the beings here. And then we go and we speak of the goodness of God. Now, God's goodness is like ours, but it's not identical. It's even higher. It's even better. His goodness has no defects, where our goodness is filled with defects. So even though when I say that God is good, I'm not using the term good in a univocal sense. I'm using it in an analogical sense. Nevertheless, it's meaningful. And it's made meaningful biblically because God creates us in his image. That he makes us with a likeness, so that God in creation gives to us the very grounds and possibility for us to have meaningful communication from him that we can understand as far as it goes.